Yes, too. So we're technically spring. Where I am, it was 27 degrees, which is 77 Fahrenheit. But 27, it was like scorching hot today. It was
really hot.
amazing.
I think the kids had snow pants at school still.
Yeah, so
You're
you never.
sweating.
They might need it. Or the way the weather goes, like it could drop like 20 for no good reason.
Yeah, that's true.
But I was thinking about if we've just skipped some spring and gone directly into summer, it's almost like we open up summer of beers early?
That's right. It's climate change telling us that you need to
Summer
start
beers
drinking.
is now an 8-month event. So
That's right.
all right, we have propagated out to the World Wide Web. Let's get this podcast recording on the roll because we are live. The adult beverages are poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old.
So in comes this hot weather out of nowhere. So Jeff and I, located up in Canada, had a hellish winter. Anybody in any type of northern hemisphere will agree with us. Like, this year was just horrendous. And all of a sudden, it comes in super hot, comes in super spicy.
Super spicy.
But that's not the only spicy things that were going on this week, because Jeff had a bit of a spicy situation at home with some game downloads.
That's exactly right, Trevor. I am not ready to talk about this, but this is something that...
And yet here we are. We have
And
a
yet
podcast.
here we are. Air your dirty laundry everywhere. Yeah, so I am outside on the barbecue, cooking supper, cooking some hot dogs. It is 30 degrees, so why not fire up the grill? And I get a ding on my phone, and my now 10-year-old has bought a game on Steam, and I still get the emails that come through. And this is using their Steam Wallet funds, so it's a gift card from Grandma. I allowed them to make their own Steam purchases. It's not linked up to a credit card or anything. Oh my God, that would be a whole other can of worms with what's about to happen. But I'm like, oh, what game did they buy? Because they just went through a birthday. They got a ton of gifts from us. What's up? And I click on the email, and no word of a lie, I like leave the barbecue on. I open up the back door to the house, run upstairs, calling their name, like, questions. Did you buy this 18 plus adult only DLC for this game?
Oh my God. Shut it off, shut it off, shut it off.
Have you played anything? Stop.
Stop telling it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So they bought this game, and it is bundled with DLC that you're like, oh, the great deal. Look at all this DLC you can get with it. And one of them is this uncensored version, 18 plus. Lay it all out there with these cartoon characters
Oh
on
my
screen,
goodness.
bundled up into this game.
I just love the visual. Like, I imagine like some really somber classical music playing as you slowly see your phone, your face drops, the tongs drop, the hot dogs drop, and you're leaving the one spicy sausage situation to go deal with another spicy sausage
Yep.
situation.
Yeah.
And just running like, no, don't open that link.
It's exactly what the situation was. And I was so worried that like we couldn't get a refund if you like boot it. Like, Steam's pretty good about refunds, but I'm like, don't start it. Have you installed it? What's going on? Your little brain can't take whatever you're about to be exposed to. Literally. Let's just call it here.
Yeah.
But it's just a good reminder for any gaming dads out there. Review those Steam kind of credentials and what they're allowed to view and purchase, because most of the time it's like defaulted, right? They have to be a certain age to get on Steam, which I think I clicked off 13. But it usually defaults to like violence and nudity, right? And like it's this weird thing where I've spoken on this show and they have played Diablo 3 with me. So, like, you can chop demons in half. And I guess nudity comes along with that, right? Like, it's just this kind of, there's just different conversations to be had. And one is definitely not appropriate for what they're doing in the game.
Yeah, Dad, you know how I like to dress up nicely? Yeah. Well, there's this game called Leisure Suit Larry. And
Do
I
you
love
remember
the
those?
ultras.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Yeah, that's certainly saw those ones too young. So what I'm curious about, what it was fascinating to me when you were describing the story was initially my head went to not that they seeked it out, but that it was a direct purchase of a naughty game, right? That in that like maybe a bit of exploration or maybe just like not even knowing what it was. But
Right.
what's more, call it almost insidious from a gaming dad standpoint is that it was one kind of DLC mod amongst a bunch, like a whole package of things. So within the package, you would probably dad. I know the terrible
In
use
the
of
packet,
frame.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yep.
In the grouping of games, you would probably approve of most of it, but then there's just this one part of it that was different. So for me, that seemed particularly insidious. Not that I don't think anyone was trying to pull a fast one on anyone. However, I just mean from the scenario, it's like, damn, it's not as if my son directly went or my child went directly to this thing and just decided to buy it, and instead it was
Yeah.
sort of like this accidental flyby stuff because it happened to be included.
Yeah, and it was when I looked at the bundle of games that was kind of presented with the DLC, it was the better deal. So if we're talking positives here, they did the math and they worked it out. But they weren't, like you said, they weren't seeking this out. They were actually really okay with refunding the whole thing. They're like, "Oh, I didn't know." And granted, they could be pulling one over on old dad, but I think they were being genuine and honest. I don't know how it got in there.
I thought it was a math game. Oh no!
But dad, it's a better deal. I won't play it, I swear. No, they seemed generally okay with just refunding it. Like, I didn't know, this is okay. Like, I don't want to like lose my Steam privileges and my freedom, right? And it was just a quick talk, and we're
That's
back
amazing.
to regular programming.
Gaming, get back to barbecuing. Gaming
That's right.
dads, gaming dads, stay vigilant. Double check the accounts for age. Just keep it out of their shoulders, lest they wander into unsavory territory
Yes,
on these
exactly.
systems.
Yeah.
Now, on our side here, we had a funny one tonight that I think all gaming dads would be able to relate to. Specifically, that my oldest was off for an event with a mother, and whenever I stay home with one-on-one, it's awesome. It's always like one-on-one daddy son time. It's going to be great. So sitting there with the youngest, it's like, what do you want to do? Now, sometimes we have gone for a walk, gone for a bike ride, played Uno, like drawn, like we've done a lot of things. Often it leads to video games. We all do enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that's what he wants to do. But he's explaining, he's like, oh, but I was told I'm not allowed.
Oh,
I'm like, wait, but by mom? Did mom tell you you're not allowed? No. Adrian, my oldest, like, oh, he said I wasn't allowed to play. It's like, oh, did he now?
the secret's out.
I'm trying to remember when he bought the system and brought it into the house because I think it's mine and he doesn't have that kind of authority. So, but he was so adamant about it. He's like, no, he said we can't be playing. It's like, son, I own the system.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
the house that I own for the electricity that I pay for, I'm telling you can play this game. He does not have. He's bigger than you, but he does not have the right to tell you yes or no.
Wow.
And I think it is just a tale as old as time. My dear older brother who listens to the show, I hope is laughing because when we first got our PlayStation, I got kicked off of it. We split it 50-50, but I was barred from playing it for like a month because now, rightfully so, because I had deleted his like 6 to 12 hour save file on Resident Evil twice.
Brutal. Yeah.
Twice, like overridden it. So there's one of those actions like, that's it, you can't touch this thing. and so
proven
it's
yourself. You have to build that trust.
Now, is this a trait within my family, or does it mimic anything with your current kids or with yourself when you were growing up with console ownership, quote unquote?
I mean, it might sound a little familiar to me. I mean, you weren't the oldest, right? So
No.
I am the oldest, and
Ah. Like, let me tell you how it works on the other side.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
great.
So I totally understand kind of owning or kind of planting the seed in your younger sibling to be like, hey, we should do this and split a console price. Or you ask mom and dad for this for Christmas and then we'll play it together. So, like, you burn the Christmas present wish from them, like, for a game that you want. Like, it's all very intricate. And, like, I swear I put a lot of thought into, like, directing where my brother's kind of, I don't know, wants and needs were going. So, like, I do remember splitting the PS3 with him, and that PS3 on launch was quite the pretty penny.
That
And
was-
I remember putting in like half. And this was like, we were pretty young, and they didn't have a job, and I think I had a newspaper route. So I was earning money, they weren't. So this is their birthday money,
Right.
Christmas money, and putting it into this console that I eventually took to college, and they did not play.
Oh no, it's already packed. Bye.
Yeah, so I can understand where this kind of comes from. I might be on the dark side of things.
Oh my god. Oh, it was so funny to see. I just had to disabuse him of this idea, and like it was just so implanted.
Yeah.
Like it took a while. That it's like, no. I assure you, son, I can tell you if you can play this system or not. And I think we're having words with the older brother. So,
Is there like a key word that unlocks it, like treadstone? Like, like he's been like brainwashed to understand that this console belongs to the older sibling. Like, he can't do anything.
by my hand, you shall be able to use it. So we shall work it. Hey, Gaming Dads, do you have a similar story to that? We'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us at our website, newdadgaming.com, or off at Twitter at newdadgaming. Now, speaking of implanting ideas for games in others' heads, it sounded as though your oldest might have kind of got one over on you, as far the best that I could tell, as far as why not purchase a game for a birthday?
Yeah, I fell for my own tricks, just like what I mentioned with implanting those ideas into my younger brother. My 12-year-old, when we were looking for gifts for my now 10-year-old, we went through a whole bunch of like, oh, they've got books, they've got clothing, they've got cards, they've got Pokemon cards. And that was it. Like, that was a lot. There was enough there. We felt all good about it. But then my 12-year-old's like, you're not even going to get them a game? Like,
We were
like,
feeling
just-
happy. We were
yeah.
feeling confident.
And they just threw that wrench in there. Like, you're not even going to get them a game? Like, who are you? Like, what is this? Is this even a birthday? You're not even going to get them,
Wow.
like, anything? And I did like I was blindsided by, like, it was one of those things like, no, they have enough. And then later on that night, I'm like, damn it.
Just
I got
sitting
them a
up in the
game.
middle of the night, cold sweat.
Yeah.
Like, is it enough? No game. What kind
No.
of father am I?
No, it gnawed at me. Like, again, in my brain, I'm like, well, maybe they should. Maybe this is like a tradition for them. And I don't know about it until dad breaks their heart on their 10th birthday, the big double digits, and they don't get a game. Like, I don't know. These thoughts are like, okay, I guess I'll get them a game. So I ended up getting them a game.
I mean, look, it's just us dads here right now. Be honest. Like, is this a game that they wanted, or is this a game that you kind of wanted a bit?
It would have been funnier if it was a game that I wanted. Like, I could be like, hey, Zelda's out in 3 weeks.
Hey.
We might want to do that. Wasn't that so much fun, right? Maybe Elden Ring DLC. It's not announced yet, but, gift card to it. Let's
Pretty
see.
fun, right? Win.
Yeah. But no, it was something that they, I think, are interested. It's the Minecraft Legends one that launches next week.
Yeah.
So I think they're pretty excited for it. Now, the problem is that there's co-op play to it, but the 12-year-old has to buy a copy to play with them because it's on Steam.
It's not local.
I don't think it's couch co-op on Steam, but I think it's couch co-op on the PlayStation. And this is actually, this might spin into something else a little bit. It was when I decided on a game, I'm like, okay, what platform? Because I was like, oh God, oh no. Because do they want it on PlayStation? Like, they kind of play on the PlayStation, but they're really on their laptop now. And with this whole Steam business, they might want to play on there, and they have friends on there now. They have Steam friends that are starting to like gain a little bit of, momentum. do I go for the Steam version? And that's what I went with. But now I'm questioning, like, oh, maybe they wanted the Switch version, or maybe they wanted the PlayStation version so that they could
Right.
play Couch Co-op. I don't know. Way to throw that out there, like, because I was feeling good about it, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, what version now?
Yeah, and
That's
it's-
true. Oof, because it would be the which console, which place do you want to play it on the most? Versus it is a particularly tricky thing with the features being locked behind a particular console on a platform.
Yes,
Like that
yeah,
sucks because if they did want to play multiplayer, console great, everyone would pick up controller.
right,
But clearly they'd want to play on the new gaming PC, like that's the new hotness.
right.
Oof, that's a wild one.
And you had to like I had to do my research, where it's like, before you could buy a game, whatever, you buy a game and it works. Now it's just like, okay, is it through Steam? Is it through the Microsoft Store? Is it through Game Pass in some way? And I need to subscribe to that, or maybe that's a better option. I don't know. I could buy a
Yeah.
month of that and see if they even like it. But it was one that I had to kind of dig through, and there is crossplay. So I'm like, oh, okay, crossplay. So even if we do get it, if we're like you and buy 8 copies of the thing,
Yeah, of course. One by one. Every system, please.
yeah, we could play crossplay, but then, it's not. I think it eliminates that couch co-op thing. And now I'm even questioning that. Like, maybe there is couch co-op with the PC, but I don't think there is through the Steam version. But it's one of those things
Yeah.
like you really have to dig in and you have to understand. Like, I guess they could not accept the gift and then go out and get their own, but yeah.
Reject the gift.
Go to the Steam
Like,
version.
nothing. Just take it back. You use it. Like, fine,
Yeah.
I will. Wee.
That yeah, and that kind of moment where they, like, what'd you give me this for, Dad? If that ever happens, that would cut me deep. Just being a gaming dad and knowing that,
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm supposed to kind of know this industry, and we talk about it every week, so I should know.
Even still, I mean, with the mistakes I've made with Minecraft, like you mentioned, multiple platforms. When it came to the education version for this particular type of Chromebook that
Yeah.
had this kind of processor, even the most educated can get utterly confused because, like, the fact that I've seen plenty of funny videos that just lament the launch chart, where it's like, okay, well, if you're on this platform, but you get the VIP launch version, but not the platinum launch version, you'll get. You're just like charting your best optimized course for purchase, as opposed to $30 for a game. Hooray!
Yeah, I don't
There
want to
you go.
consult a matrix. I don't want to be like, all right, where I am. What? Okay, I get it. I get it earlier, and I get this stuff if I get this version. Like before, I think we had a problem with like, is it Super Mario or is it just Mario? Is it the Mario 64? Now it's just which version and when and what platform. So
Yeah, no, you got it for Xbox One X. No, stupid. It needs to be Xbox Series X. God.
yeah, exactly, right? It's
So
just
that-
one of those things that.
Well, congrats. You gave in to peer pressure.
I
from Your
did.
young, from your oldest. God, oh, he should be so proud.
It's
I'd love
the
to see like the look
oldest.
on his face, like, yeah, got him.
Absolutely. I bet you they just picked up Dad's tricks and they're just like, you know what? I'm going to employ this against old Dad here.
Except if it wasn't the only thing that might backfire is because it's not on the console. He doesn't get access.
That could be, yeah.
So it'll be like, oh, thanks, Dad. Would to give my sibling a cool gift I can't use. Ugh.
He'll probably learn from it and be like, next time, PS5, you know.
PS5, yeah. Now on this side of the families, we had I was trying to unpack it, and I wanted to give appropriate praise to the goodness of it, but it had this like seedy undertones to it as well, and also that didn't make the most perfect sense. And of course, it all has to do with Pokemon cards.
Of course.
Of course,
why
what
not?
else would you
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
Okay, so the scene. My son loves trading Pokemon cards. He's still like he's played 1 or 2 matches with me of kind of like a nerfed version that was going to be bit easier
Yeah.
for us to play. But just does not play the game much, but loves collecting, loves
Collect
trading,
them all. It's not
Yeah.
play it.
and loves trading them. So the proposition comes to me. It's like, hey, Dad, when tomorrow we come home from school, my brother and I are going to pool together our money, and then let's all walk together. And like, best part too is like our kids are getting kind of smart. Like
They are
weaseling and
getting, yes, devious.
he's like, listen, because I know, Dad, you're really busy during the day with talking to people and doing
Laying it
stuff or
on.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's like, but if you can find time, then maybe we can we can go buy some cards because my brother and I are gonna pool our money together to get it. It's like, okay, we're trying to work on their savings and everything, but they have saved up and they want to go for it. It's a bit of a waste, but like that's kind of, in my view, that's kind of actually part of the lesson of saving because now they will
Yeah.
have nothing.
Right.
Just like something's gonna come up. I digress. I'm like, all right, well, how much are you pooling together? He's like, well, I have like 35 and then my brother has 5. But we'll just pool it together and split it. I was like,
Okay.
and I was trying to, it's like, okay, are you being generous or are you just bad at math?
We haven't done fractions yet, so what?
Like, do you not understand division or are you just being very charitable?
Right.
Now it comes out, he actually explains, like, no, it'll be, I'll let my brother have some of my money because that way he can have more. Then we can each have the same amount. I'm like, that's very sweet.
Yeah,
He's like,
that's
then you'll have a
nice.
bunch and then we can trade. And I'm like,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, but if you just bought them all yourself, you just have them all, right?
Yeah.
But I'll give him, like I said, I don't think it's all entirely cooked around the fact that he gets to do the wheeling and dealing trading. I want to give him his due that it was like charitable and kind and very nice. You're sharing, like thumbs up, way to go.
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird that the whole purpose of you share, one of the reasons for your sharing is that so you can then get into fierce trading battles with your own brother. You're just trying to load him up so that you can try to take his things on deals that you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like so great.
It's it's again a nice gesture, like at the beginning, right? I think there's good intentions there, and maybe it's more about like, hey, we want to do this thing together, and they just require this amount of cards for me to have a good time. It's nice. Can't fault it. That's great. I think my kids do the same. They pool their money on Pokemon cards all the time, and I think they trade back and forth. And obviously, the 12-year-old knows a little bit more about value,
Yeah. Well,
and the younger one gets stuck with.
that's the fascinating thing because like, so they come home, they're just like over the moon. So it's one of those dad joys where it's
Yeah,
like, this is
yeah.
great. Like you guys are so happy. This is gonna be this is a core memory. Remember the day because we gorgeous day outside, so we walked. We took the long way. It's like ended up being like a 40-minute walk. Got the cards. We stopped off at Tim Hortons. I came back and they got to like sit there and open the cards. Great day. Checks across the board. But then I find out that they, as soon as they're done their own business, they immediately run outside and they start trading with some like 12-year-olds that we have our neighbors. And like they got, I guarantee you, Jeff, they got fleeced. Okay?
Yeah.
They got taken to the cleaners.
Yeah.
As far as I know, they've traded away some $4,000 worth of rare Pokemon cards because this one had a cool bend in it or some nonsense. Man, it's
Yeah.
your property. I'm not going to sit there and evaluate it so that for some garbage. You like that card better? Trade what you want, man. This is your stuff. We're not going to get into that, but still, it's just like, man, you're gonna like. It's like going into a pool hall and not knowing how to play pool. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you're just gonna lose.
You're gonna have one of these core memories that you're gonna unpack later, and you'd be like, "Wait a minute, I traded some pretty high value cards because I liked how Rayquaza looked, or something like."
God, I love Dig Dug, buddy. Let's go.
Yeah.
Wait,
That
was it
12-year-old said the Bens added more value.
I have 6 Misty cards. This is great. Yay!
Yeah.
So I said, great day altogether. Cool day was nice. Weird approach, and then he got fleeced. So more fun with Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
Now you had mentioned a fantastic. This almost seems like a PSA for other gaming dads out there who have had the fortune of coming across a Steam Deck, because I don't know if it's called the Dad Mod, it should be called the Dad Mod. Like, what did you install this week on your Steam Deck?
So on Steam Deck, there's a bunch of tools that you can get through Decky Loader, and then
Decky
Loader, and then through that is a little marketplace where people upload their little mods that goes in with this tool, and one is called How Long to Beat. And
Yes, that's so good.
straight to the point. This is everything that every dad has always wanted in their gaming career. Is how long does it take to beat this game? And it comes up with these stats on every game and shows you the completion time. Like, here's the main completion time. Here's if you did everything, and then here's if you 100% the thing, and then the average. So you can look at and be like, hey, listen, my kids will be in college by the time I finish this game. I better not get into it. Like, it's not going to be worth it. Or maybe it is worth it, and that's all you're going to play forever. But it's one of those things that just, it's now in my Steam Deck along with my Steam library, and everything is just right there. And it's perfect, and I recommend it to everyone. It doesn't cost a penny. It is just there for your own sanity and to plan out your day.
More like plan out your year.
Yeah.
Like, all right, so this will take the first 8 months of the year.
That's right.
And as long as I keep a strict regiment, like by the end of the year, I can finish off something else.
Yeah, and I haven't looked at where the numbers are coming from. I think the numbers are populated by like the website How Long to Beat, because I've looked up a lot of games that way. But I'm wondering now that I've talked about it, maybe the gaming dads are like shifting those numbers because we take so long to beat some games. They were just kind of blowing out that maximum. Like,
It should be by 8. The next level of this is by age.
yeah, I think that's a good idea.
So you have like the 20. How long did it take this 20-year-old to actually beat it?
Yes.
And then how much longer did he just spend on it?
Yeah.
Because okay, like they have infinite time, so they can just do what they want. This dad, a la me, sucks at this game. So it took him 40 hours, which should have taken 8.
Yeah.
So it'd be funny to see like a break. It's like, all right, here's the general average.
Right.
Here's like the young person average. Here's the dad average.
Here's all of the demographics you need to know. I mean, honestly, if I could mod things and know how to code, I would put that right in there. That's the dad mod of this How Long to Beat.
It would just be, if you self-identify as a dad on your Steam Deck, if you can give games thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, I am a dad. You're like, okay, what did you think of this game? And that's not someone say it's like, it's amazing, but this is a big one. So this is going to be your main course this year.
Right.
So
yes.
it's like The Witcher. So you would say,
yeah.
okay, listen, this is very good, but just clear the plate. Like, just clear your expectations. This is your game now for a year or two.
Yeah. It should actually be like a calculation. Like, input how much gaming hours you have right now. And if you put in like 30 minutes, right? Like 30 minutes per day, this will take you 10 months to beat.
Just like, oh, that would be very good. Come on. So, pitch it to them, like send an email and see if they might be able to include some dad mods.
I think that's a great idea.
Get our logo in there too. So one more time, what is the name of it for anyone who has a Steam Deck?
It's How Long to Beat, and it's by Decky Loader. So you
Decky
load
Loader.
that thing up.
Okay. Decky Loader, thank you for doing the good dad's work. But speaking of that, everybody, we will wrap it up here for the week. Thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you like the show, you can find us on all the podcasting networks. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Caster, YouTube, anywhere where you get your podcasts. Just search for New Dad Gaming. If you do find us and you like the show, what really helps if you can subscribe and if you can leave a rating. Doing so really helps boost the signal for the show and gets us out to as many gaming dads as possible. If you have some stories, if you have some other dad mods you'd like to recommend to the community, if you have similar sibling stories of banning a fellow sibling from playing the game despite not having any ownership of it, silly Pokemon stories, we love to hear them all. Some of the emails and conversations recently have just been fantastic, reaching out, speaking with other dads. So reach out to us. Find us on Twitter at NewDadGaming or our website, newdadgaming.com. We'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, everybody, again, can't thank you enough for listening. And until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, and some adult-rated DLC I have to refund.
How long does it take to play that, Jeff? Is that like 5 hours or 4?
I should put it into that mod tool. Yes.
Yeah, just for research purposes.
Yeah, that's right.
Just for research. For everybody, just because you became a dad
Does not mean it's game over.
all right, see you next week.
See you later.